Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bonus Level Podcast. Today, I'm joined with Nox and DL Elite Hub. How you guys doing?
Hello,
I'm doing
boys.
good.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Rugged couldn't make it to this recording, so we have to do this one without him, and we're going to be talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But before we do that, we're going to be answering your questions in the bonus questions of the week. If you want to ask questions for us to answer in the next episode of the podcast, you can join our Discord, which is in the link down below, and ask us questions in this respected channel. But our first question comes from Darth Varma. How long do you think the Skywalker saga hype will last once it's released? I think that's a very interesting question because many people are starting to realize that once this game comes out, that we're actually been waiting for forever. Once it comes out, there's going to be massive changes within the community, and people are going to get a lot less hyped about it. So I think because of the build up to this game, there's going to be a longer hype train for it than most games. I'd say 5-6 months, honestly, even though most games are like maybe 2.
5-6 months.
But I think the build up. I seriously think, I genuinely believe that. Because the build up to this has been incredible. The amount of like replayability you have in the game is going to be off the charts. So I think it'll be going for at least 6 months, yeah.
I don't know, because when it comes to Lego video games, this has been a bit of a different case, of course, because of the amount of delays and the issues we've had. But usually they'll release a Lego game, and within a few months they've already announced the next one, and the hype's already onto that. So I feel it'll last for a bit. I feel the hype's going to be pretty big. There's a lot of gameplay to be done. You got all 9 movies and everything like that. However, there's going to be another game at the end of the road. So as soon as that gets announced, the hype's going to be onto that. So just have to wait and see, really.
Yeah. So
True.
I feel like usually. Well, you might think that when a game releases, everything, like the community might double. Because of how long the anticipation has been for this game, I feel like it might be the opposite. I feel like a lot of people are going to fall off when the game comes out because they've been so hyped and looking forward to the game in preparation, but when it's done, they can just go back into their rabbit hole and play the game by themselves. I also feel like with the anticipation over 2 years, there's going to be more people here for a longer time than there will be when the game's released, because people will only play it for a month or so, and then it will only be people who I don't know what I'm saying. I've lost my trail of thought. A few months is my answer. A few months.
Fair enough.
I definitely heard everything you said there.
I don't know. I completely lost my trail of thought. I don't even know if anything I just said was worth saying. I feel like I
got what you're trying to say. You're saying that when people get the actual game and they play through it, they're not going to be nearly as interested because it's out and they've played it.
Yeah. I mean, there you go.
Yeah. That is a fair point, although, again, I disagree because of the amount of time and replayability with that game that's going to be like an option. I think people are going to be playing it for a long time.
I definitely believe it will last longer than pretty much any Lego game before it, except for maybe the Complete Saga, because that is like a long running iconic. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to our nenext question from Dino Hen, and he's asking if any of us could be a Star Wars character, who would we be? And I thought this would be an interesting question because there's different. I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. So for me, I feel like I would probably be maybe like a Jedi Knight or Padawan. Right. I don't have maybe like a Kit Fisto sorta. I don't know. Yeah. I'm there. I'm in. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm there.
Well, I don't want to be murdered at any point in my lifetime as a Jedi Padawan, so I would probably choose to be Dexter Jester, because he's a solid guy, and I don't want to die in Order 66. So.
Mate, that is fair.
I want to see a Photoshop of that.
If I could be any character,
yes, the Sarlacc pit.
It'd be.
I want to be really generic and say Grogu.
Grogu?
Yeah.
Baby Yoda.
Grogu?
Yeah, man.
Is that what you said? You said Grogu.
No.
Isn't it Grogu?
Grogu.
Yeah, Grogu.
Yeah.
I thought it
Grogu.
was Grogu.
Grogu.
No.
It's
Gro-
Grogu.
Shut up.
How do you
What do you
say-
mean? It's
Grogu?
Grogu.
It's Grogu.
No,
What?
it's not.
Grogu.
I've never heard anyone say it like that
It's-
before.
All right, give me a sec. We're going to Google.
Right, how to pronounce...
Google's gonna do it like go.
How to pronounce.
Right, hold on, let me play this. Listen up.
About pronouncing it?
Oops. Was See, listen.
Goo.
Grogu.
Did you
Grogu.
get it? Let me know.
Grogu.
In the comments.
Grogu.
Grogu. I'm just saying it faster, innit?
Grogu. No, you're still
No.
not.
Grogu.
No, you said Grogu.
Sounds like a Pokemon
Grogu.
instead of the Baby Yoda.
It sounds like something
Oh,
from
man,
Ben
it-
10.
You know
Grogu.
what? Suck your mum.
Whoa! All right. Well, then, let's move on to the next question before this gets personal. My God, Chase. He asks when the first guest for the podcast will be, and will the guests that we have on the podcast have to just be YouTubers? And I think this is a good question because we can
Well, that is
address
a good
this like
question,
openly.
actually.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this extensively, although we have had several discussions on it. The first
Yeah.
guest, we mentioned this I think in the last podcast. We might have. We're aiming like within a month or 2 months because
Yeah.
we want to get the rhythm down of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we've been reformatting, restructuring the podcast recently, you know. So now that we've got that out of the way and we're getting back into the flow of things, we think it's time to get some guests on, I think. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
I agree, man.
In terms
Yeah.
of who, I feel like obviously the main guests or type of guests that we're gonna have on are gonna be YouTubers. It's also we had a thing in our last attempt at a Dreadful podcast where people thought that just because they uploaded one video that they're eligible for a guest. We never really had, and I don't think even in this case we have requirements to be a guest. You could be a YouTuber, you could be a developer for a game, you could be a musician. It could be anything because we have varied content now on this podcast channel. So
Yeah.
you could come from loads of different places, but if you are a nobody, then I mean you're not gonna benefit
not a
from
nobody,
a
but-
podcast, or we're not gonna benefit from you. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying
there has to be
I'm
there
not
has to be a mutual benefit.
yeah, I'm not saying that if you have 100 subscribers, I'm not saying you're a nobody. I'm saying, for example, if you're just a fan, right? So if you're a viewer, then you're not going to be a guest. But there isn't any restrictions or requirements or anything like that. We just have on whoever who we think is a good fit for a podcast episode that will also complement the podcast episode. So not just a random
Yeah.
guest for a random
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
Someone
so-
people will want to recognize and be interested in seeing what they have to add.
Yeah. So
Pretty much.
basically, have a guest that you guys would want to see as well.
Yeah.
Because if we were just to grab, say one of you guys, that's also going to lead to issues because people will be like, oh, you got this guy on, why can't I come on the podcast? Why can't I
Exactly.
come on the podcast? Whereas we got to make it fair. We got to have content that you guys are going to want to watch. You're not going to want to watch one of you guys just sat here talking to us, and it won't be as entertaining as if we just have a guest that maybe you guys watch as another YouTuber or someone you know of interest and stuff like that. But you get
Exactly.
the idea. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do we want to, before we move on, do we want to mention the names that we have just as a little tease?
No,
Or
I
keep
don't.
that secret.
I think we
Ooh.
shouldn't because because we'd be putting pressure on the guests that we're hoping to get,
True.
but we
That's true.
haven't we
Okay.
haven't got into contact with them because like we said, good content first, and then we can get in communication with the guests that we want, and then hopefully they'll take us up on our offer and be a part of a podcast.
All right.
Yeah.
In that case, more announcements coming soon. We won't say anything then. But this episode, we're going to be focused on the Falcon and Winter Soldier
Yeah.
because the finale came out. And first, I think with any good starting point, we should rate it out of 10. What do you think of the whole season of Falcon and Winter Soldier?
That was
And
brilliant.
we can do it. We can do an explanation this time.
Okay.
I'll
Out
do
of
it this
10.
time. Okay.
Okay.
Out of
Um,
10. I personally I would do probably a 7 out of 10.
7.
For a couple of reasons, but if you guys want to go first, I'll let you go.
I see. Right. So, am I able to compare this against any TV show? So, in terms of it being a television show, or in terms of generally Marvel?
It's up to you, really. How would you?
Okay.
In whatever context you want.
So, if I was to rank it in Marvel, so I would be comparing it to other stuff in Marvel, probably about a 7. But if I was ranking it compared to, all of the massive TV shows that I really enjoy watching, I'd probably put it about a 6. It's not bad in any way. It's just that I enjoy a lot more than that. But in Marvel, it's good stuff. But it's just not. It's not something that I would go back and I'd rewatch a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sort of agree. I wouldn't rewatch it. In terms of out of 10, I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a solid 7 because it's in between. I know we've all went for similar ratings there, but it's just because this what it is really. I wouldn't give it any more than that. The fight scenes were cool. I love some of the scenes they recorded. A lot of it I thought was very on and off. There were points throughout the show where I'd get very, very bored and I'm just sat there on my phone because I didn't really care for some of the story. Whereas there were parts where I was like, okay, I'm really interested in this. This is awesome. This is great. This is a great show. So it's very on and off. And it was like that with every episode.
I don't know.
I definitely agree with that. That is partially why I rated it that way as well. For example, I'll just give an example. The first episode, in my eyes, when I think of the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think of Falcon doing his taxes. I don't want to watch that. I got very, very bored during that first episode. But in comparison, the last episode was my favorite of the season, and I loved the last 15, 20 minutes or so. Everything in the last 15 or 20 minutes I loved. So it's really I same reason.
Cool. Yeah. I think it's solid.
Did you have anything to add, Knox?
So I don't think I ever really got bored during the series. I was pretty interested. I would say the character development stuff I appreciated, but we didn't need it. But I'm completely happy we got it. I personally I don't think there's anything bad about this series. But at a ground level, it's very mediocre in my opinion. But then there's some really good moments. So, for example, in the first episode, I remember watching it, and after it, I thought, this isn't going to match my expectations coming from WandaVision. And I've got a question, but I suppose we'll lead into it now before we start the continued discussion or whatever. Do you prefer WandaVision or the Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
WandaVision.
I think this is a tie for me. I can't really decide because the beginning of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I was very bored and I wasn't entertained. The first 2 episodes of WandaVision, I wasn't very interested. And then the rest of WandaVision was very good, but in my opinion, it didn't stick the landing.
Okay.
So I feel like overall Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I could make a very good argument for WandaVision.
For me, easily WandaVision. Now, I do really enjoy Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but Sam and Bucky were never my favourite characters in the MCU either. But don't get me wrong, Wanda and Vision definitely aren't either. But I feel like when it comes to Sam and Bucky, it was Steve, or Captain America as he was, who was the reason why I watched them. And don't get me wrong, they're the best of this series. They're obviously the main characters. But it did just feel like a slower version of an MCU movie, and not as good as one at that. Whereas WandaVision was very different. It took 2 characters that were okay and made them really good. For me, I still don't understand the people find the first 2 episodes boring, because I was very intrigued and I found them entertaining. I think it was pretty funny as well. I think Vision was there's a bit of comedy in there as well. And personally, I think that was a great series. That's on par with nearly as entertaining as The Mandalorian for me. But I don't think The Falcon and the Winter Soldier reaches that kind of level.
You've just made
that
a
makes sense.
very good point that I don't know whether you realised, but you said about how Falcon and Winter Soldier is more or less like an MCU movie rather than a show.
Mm-hmm.
You said something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. I feel this could have easily been cut down into a movie without having 6 episodes, nearly an hour each episode. Because if you think about it, so many of the episodes are just the same shit.
Yeah.
With the terrorists trying to stop the terrorists. Into the next episode, same stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't need to. I don't think they needed to drag it out that much.
I think
They
that's
could
why
have fit that into a movie. They could have fit it into a movie, 100%.
Well, that's why I somewhat, well, I disagree and agree with what you're saying. I agree it could have been better as a movie, but also I disagree about them having the same plot every episode. For the first, okay, not the first episode, that was just boring, but the second and third-ish episodes, I agree. I don't remember which one is from which.
Yeah.
And then episode 4 on, I thought was brilliant. But those early episodes were, I could agree. I see what you're saying there. But as the series progressed, I disagree that was the same thing.
And see, that's also kind of how a movie is. You have the first act, the second act, the third act. And in this series, the third act was the best act. But I feel like if they was to get rid of all the unnecessary scenes and dialogue, and even though it's character development, which was the best, in my opinion, the best thing about this series, was especially Sam's turning from the Falcon to Captain America. But that was mainly just the last episode. But obviously they did sprinkle it like all throughout. Then Bucky as well, coming from the Winter Soldier, although I still don't think that was very necessary, because of in the movies he kind of recovered in Wakanda anyway, so they kind of just brought that back to then add more character development, and he would just end up in the same place you expected him to be.
True.
Where was my point from the beginning?
I don't know.
We were talking about how the episodes are very
ends
similar.
better.
No, the movie. So I definitely feel like if they got rid of all of those, even though they're still useful, if they got rid of all that and they made it into a 2.5 hour movie, I definitely feel like this would be a good movie. I think it'd be a really good movie. But it's not, and they're kind of capitalizing on the Disney Plus TV show side of things, and that's definitely 100%. What they're doing, and they could have made this into a movie. I feel like they definitely should have. It doesn't take away from the fact that I still enjoyed it. I still looked forward to every episode, but for the most part, I only looked forward to an episode when I was watching it. I wasn't as hyped as I was for WandaVision for every episode in between, because there was like cliffhangers at the end of all of those episodes. In this, there was
cliffhangers in this one.
I can only think of one.
The guy,
I'm about to say I can only think of one cliffhanger, and that's that one.
When he killed the guy, when Sam got the suit, and then Sharon Carter at the very end of the last episode.
Yeah, but they're not good cliffhangers. I would say
the last one is a very bad cliffhanger. I'll give you that.
Well, I would say
it's still a cliffhanger.
The only good cliffhanger I think in the whole series is what's his name? The bad
Walker.
Yeah, John Walker.
Walker.
Yeah, when he used the shield, that was a great scene, I think. But I mean, I don't think Falcon opening up his suit was a good cliffhanger, because you knew exactly what he was opening up. It wasn't like, what's going to happen in the next episode? Like it was
Well, I agree.
I know exactly what's
when
gonna
I
happen.
finished when I finished watching the episode, I was like, oh, come on, I don't want to wait another week for this. I want to watch this now. I mean, I know what it was, but I still wanted to see it.
Yeah. I think you both put forward good points. I definitely agree with I call him US agent, 'cause that's what he is.
Yeah.
He is.
By the end
which
of it,
is
definitely.
which is what I said even before the show started to you guys in one of the podcasts, I think. and even now. But either way, I agree with the fact that when he did kill that guy with the shield, that was definitely the best cliffhanger, because it left you standing with what's going to happen to this dude now.
Mhm.
Is he going to drop the whole Captain America thing, which obviously, is he going to prison? Is he going to get this? Is he going to get that? And
how's the
we
world
didn't know what
going
was
to
going to
react?
happen. Yeah,
But
exactly.
that's also
So,
I was a little
Yeah.
bit disappointed, and I really want them to do justice to Spider-Man when it's kind of a similar situation. It's basically the complete opposite, where Spider-Man is being revealed his identity as the superhero, whereas John Walker is being revealed to the world as a bad guy. But that was what I got from the cliffhanger was, oh my god, how's the world going to react to Captain America being bad now? But you didn't really see much of that, and they didn't
no,
react
you didn't,
quite a lot.
actually. That's a good point.
Which was
That's
a little
true.
bit.
There was no
underwhelming.
uproar about it.
No.
Whereas, being realistic, if something like that happened and it came up on the news on TV, there'd be riots and shit all
Yeah.
over the show.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's a guy that's meant to be protecting us, but he's just absolutely destroyed this
Yeah.
kid in the middle of the street with a shield. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good way to
I think
put it.
that I want to backtrack for a second because we kept talking about how we think Captain America or not, well, I guess it's Captain America and the Winter Soldier, this show, that's what they call it at the end. We kept talking about how we think it would be better as a movie. But it turns out after the finale, a Captain America 4 was announced. So what do you think
Okay.
about that? Do we know? What do we know about that? I heard that Chris Evans is going to be in some capacity. What's our thoughts about that? What do you think's going to happen?
So what I thought I saw was that Chris Evans was getting his own Captain America movie, and that and then we're also going to get a Falcon or the new Captain America and Bucky movie, or is it all in the same? Is it all the same movie?
I was under the impression that the Captain America 4 was something with Chris Evans. That's all I heard.
Well,
Let's have a look.
I had hoped that Captain America with Chris Evans was gonna be a look back at like maybe a Black Widow kind of movie, which I would have been down for, even though it's definitely not necessary. But then I definitely want a movie looking forward with Sam and Bucky, because I feel like I would have much enjoyed that for this series, and I really want to see where it goes.
I definitely agree with that. I think that there's two routes that they can take that, which you've mentioned. Sam and Bucky having their own thing, and then maybe having old Cap have a cameo or whatever, or have a prequel. But I feel like if they were to do a prequel, they'd have to be very selective about what they did. And I feel like I've thought about this quite a bit when I was writing up the plan. I think that if they were to do a Chris Evans Captain America prequel, it would be best to do it before the Avengers, but after the first Avenger. Because what we see is we see him get out of the ice and run into a street, and then in Avengers, he's in a little boxing arena, whatever.
Okay.
So Nick Fury, he just comes in and says, "Hey Cap, we need you. I recognize your name. You're from that guy from the 1940s." Or they could have Nick initiate some sort of mission for him to prove himself that he's still good to be on the Avengers and he's not like old and rusty or whatever.
I
So I
agree.
feel like if they were to do that, it would make sense, but
So looking it up, there's been no actual confirmation about Chris Evans. It's just
pretty sure
rumors.
there was. Oh, it's just a rumor? Okay. Well,
Yeah, I've just looked at a few articles. It's just rumors at the minute, but he's been interviewed about it and stuff like that, and he's never denied the rumors, and he's never said that he won't not. He's never said no, I'm not going to be in a Captain America movie. So it's all up in the air.
Why would he say no that?
Yeah,
No.
exactly. And other points are basically saying that because US Agent is more or less a villain, that Captain America 4 will be based around that and are based around the new Captain America as we know Sam now, and Bucky more or less taking him out of the equation, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm gonna say, and maybe getting Zemo back in there as well. You
Yep.
never know.
Yeah. I have a lot to add about that, actually. So, something with US Agent, Zemo, and all of that. So U.S. Agent is a part of a team in the comics called the Dark Avengers. I'm pretty sure. You could correct
Okay.
me if I'm wrong. I've been doing some research on the Dark Avengers in preparation for this episode, and also have been keeping up with Spider-Man not Far From Home, Spider-Man 3 leaks.
Okay.
So the Dark Avengers is a team that is supposed to rival the Avengers. That's supposed to be completely government mandated.
It's let me just butt in real quick. That is typical Marvel. That is typical Marvel. Just to take the Avengers and then just
Make amiibo.
make it the opposite.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So interesting thing about that is that there's several different members. Some of them I think we've been introduced to, and U.S. Agent is he's the very easy to point out one, but there's other characters that I don't remember off the top of my head. But the one character I do remember for sure is Green Goblin. What is his name? Not Green Goblin himself. The character, his identity. What's his name?
Norman Osborn.
Oh, yes.
There you
He is supposed to be the leader of this Dark Avengers team, and he's leaked to be making an appearance in Spider-Man 3.
From Spider-Man
Ooh.
Sam Raimi. It's
Yes.
gotta be, right?
I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to say it, but yes.
Yeah.
That is what the leak suggests, that Spider-Man from the Raimi trilogy is going to come into the MCU, and
Well,
he's going to
yeah.
make some sort of Dark Avengers team.
And
that
Doc Ock?
Doc Ock is going to be in it, but he's not a part of what I'm talking about.
I mean,
but yes.
I would say that Doc Ock kind of confirms quite a lot of the rumors people have been theorizing about, because, I mean, the actor of Dr. Octopus has confirmed, I think it was a week ago or so, a few weeks ago, that he is definitely going to be returning in Spider-Man 3 from where he left off in Spider-Man 2, confirming there is going to be, like, absolutely multiverse Spider-Man 3, which, of course, is what's been said for a while now, but now we know that a character from Spider-Man is going to be in the new movie, meaning that people like Green Goblin and, of course, Tobey Maguire and maybe Andrew Garfield and guys as well, and Electro. So I could definitely see that Spider-Man 3 is going to be the kind of tie-in movie that ties everything together between think about it, WandaVision, Doctor Strange, but then the Falcon and the Winter Soldier moving into the Captain America 4 with John Walker or US Agent. And then this team that you're talking about, yeah.
The Dark
It would be
Avengers.
cool if it all pulled it together.
Yeah.
It would make a lot of sense.
I think they will. I think the writers behind the MCU are very, very smart, and that's exactly what they're doing. That they're gonna make it all make sense and pull it all together.
Let's hope so.
About 2 months ago, Marvel hired a team of like 7 to 14. I don't know. It's somewhere in that range. 7 to 14 people to have like an overviewing MCU story group that can fact check and set up things in the movies now for future movies. So like the movies are going to be a lot more interconnected, even though they already are. They're going to be placing things in the old movies that are going to be affecting the new things, and have these people correct continuity errors.
Yeah,
and have all that going on.
And I
Take
love
reference
that.
from the comics.
I love that.
So
how they tie it all together.
So I think that is going to be a huge part of this. And additionally, I want to just mention this, that Russell Crowe is supposed to play Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder. I think that could definitely play a part of it. That's definitely a more comic-heavy bit of it, for sure, because we've had no mention of this before. So I just thought that this movie, the story group, is going to be playing a huge role in the future. And the Dark Avengers having all that. Also, one more thing before we moved on, I forgot to mention. Osborn, his suit when he joins the Dark Avengers is not Green Goblin. He takes the Iron Patriot suit from Iron Man 3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit. I saw it. It's a little silly, but he's got the Iron Man red, white, and blue stars and stripes all over it.
Yeah.
So,
but this is comics,
I thought that was
right?
interesting. Yeah, this is the comic adaptation.
Yeah, they'll probably change it. I don't think they'd go that route for the MCU. I don't see any reason why they'd bring Iron Patriot back.
Well, I could actually. Norman Osborn in the comics and the Raimi trilogy is a very wealthy businessman. And like Tony, he's a very wealthy
Right.
This is
businessman.
true.
So if he
So
comes
he just
into
buys
However-
it.
the MCU universe and he builds himself up as a businessman very quickly, or kills the Norman Osborn in this reality, or I don't know, whatever he does to get himself on a little pedestal, he can very easily get himself access to these sort of things because he's had experience. He's this sort of character, like an evil Tony Stark.
Yeah. Well,
as a comparison.
yeah, there could be they could reveal, so they could bring back Robert Downey Jr. for like a flashback, and they could reveal that Tony Stark and is it Norman Osborn?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
They had like business meetings or stuff in the past. Maybe they could definitely pull that in.
Yeah, imagine at the end of Iron Man 3, he saved some of the suits and he sold Iron Patriot to Norman Osborn.
Yeah,
'Cause that's completely possible.
Yeah, they could add that in. Makes sense. Don't see why not.
Yeah, I just thought that was very interesting that they seem to be building up these characters that are from the Stark Avengers,
Yeah.
with these Spider-Man 3 leaks and US Agent.
Mm-hmm.
But something I want to talk about, back to Falcon and Winter Soldier, is Sharon Carter. She was a little she had an interesting story, depending on how you use the word interesting as a verb.
Yeah.
Sharon was built up to be a much bigger character than she actually, I think, was, in my opinion. And she turns out to be the power broker and becomes a mole on the inside of the U.S. government. Before I say what I think, what do you guys think of that?
Worst reveal in history. It sucks.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit rubbish.
I mean,
Yeah, that
who
was
didn't
lazy.
see that coming? And why did it have to be like? Why can it have just been somebody surprising and somebody? I felt like she was a decent character without her having to be powerful. I definitely didn't think she needed to be the power broker, but I definitely thought from episode, as soon as the power broker was mentioned, there's like nobody else around who could have been the power broker unless they brought them in. And then it came to episode 6 and they still hadn't revealed any more people who could become the power broker. So by the time she goes, I'm the power broker, or whatever they say, then I can't even remember the moment because I knew what was happening before it happened. It sucks.
Yeah, Carly said when she was pointing the gun at her, "What's the power broker without power?" or something like that.
Well, that's a surprise. Definitely didn't see that
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, in my opinion, I've never been a fan of Sharon Carter. I find her boring. Like, why?
Yeah.
I don't get why she's there. I don't know why she's important. I guess she'll have a more important role, but quite honestly, I find it just boring. Like, what's the point?
Unnecessary is the
one
word
of
I
my-
would use.
Yes. One of my main complaints about the beginning of Falcon and Winter Soldier as well, that I forgot to mention this earlier. I didn't know what the hell was happening. Like, I have never watched a show or a movie, especially one that I'm like interested in and keeping up with, and not have any idea why we were going to places or what they were talking about.
Yes, I agree.
So that whole sequence in Madripoor, I had no idea why we were there. Why is Sharon Carter there? Why are we talking to her? And why is this important? It never showed up again. I don't remember why we needed to go there. Zemo said we needed to go there for something. That's what I remember. I don't know why.
I can't remember.
Exactly. I don't know why we had to go there. So like for the first 3 or 4 episodes I didn't understand what was going on. And then in the end it was great, but I didn't really get it. I think that was definitely a miss on the show. Although she does seem to be becoming more what's the word? A larger villain that'll be set up for later movies and shows. So I feel like maybe if this Captain America 4 thing pans out, she could be in that. But I don't really know where else she could show up at.
She's a dodgy character.
Yeah,
What she is.
you should definitely be in Captain America 4, I think. And I like I said, I feel like it's so unnecessary to make her such a powerful character. I thought she was okay in previous movies, and I didn't take much notice of her. But I do think it is unnecessary for her to be a big villain next. It's like they could have made it interesting, and I feel like that's completely the opposite. I'm not excited to see where it goes, and I hope it doesn't last very long.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see it going anywhere, especially after the fan response to it. I think we'll just try and be done with it, unless they're setting up something they need her for. Like
But
if they need
yeah,
her in Doctor Strange or something like which she won't, but if they're setting her up for something that they need,
the,
then fair enough.
see
But
the only upside that I thought of, was that if she was able to, if she becomes the bad guy, and if she goes against the Avengers, then maybe she could turn the government against the Avengers. And then there is
ooh,
an
you know
interesting
what?
storyline
Just gave me
there. But
another idea.
is she
That could
against
be
the
why the
Avengers?
government
I
approves the
don't.
Dark Avengers. Aha! We're bringing it back. It's all connected.
uh, wait. So is the Power Broker is she a bad guy, right? Or bad?
Yeah.
I don't know why she's there. What
Because
is the point of
she's
her
on
again?
she's on Sam and Bucky's side, so I don't get it. How is she a bad guy?
Well, no. So she helps them at the Wait, she helps them at the beginning, and then she goes. I'm trying to make sense of it. I don't know.
Because
Wait, what does she do?
I thought I don't know. I don't know what she does either. But if she becomes a bad guy, say, and she's against the Avengers, the only interesting storyline I can see is if the government turns against the Avengers. That's the only good storyline.
Well, I mean, that
can
kind of
think
already happened as well. Civil
Yeah, no,
War.
it did. Yeah, in Civil War.
Wait, so why? I'm thinking about this episode now. Why did she kill all of those flag smashers if she's the one that took them in and trained them? If they're her men, why is she killing all of them? This doesn't make any sense to me.
So she doesn't look suspicious, maybe?
man.
It's not very smart, is it?
I don't know. Sharon Carter's a bit sus, if you ask
Just
me.
killing
She needs to get
all of your.
voted out of the MCU. Vote her out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I don't know,
think
ma'am.
they could
I
definitely
think
have
she's a
handled
bit
that better.
boring.
Yeah, I don't see why she needed to be there, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Just a reminder, hey guys, Sharon Carter's still here. Remember her? Yeah, she's still here. And now she's evil.
I've got a question for you guys.
Go on then.
Who is okay? So, what is your favorite moment of the series?
Oh, very easily the speech Falcon gives to the senators at the end.
Okay, fair enough.
That's a good scene, yeah.
I would before DL answers, I would say not the speech at the end, but the whole combat at the start of the episode with Sam as Captain America. I thought that was epic because
was pretty cool.
him using the shield and actually beating people up with it as Captain America. I thought that was epic.
It was pretty cool, but I don't know if it's my favorite thing. It's definitely up there, though. What about you, DL?
I really enjoyed the part where Sam is training to become Captain America. So when he's training to catch the shield and he's throwing it against the trees and it's got the music going, he's jogging, he's building himself up, he's working out. And it's just like, it's like a motivational scene, isn't it? Like he's getting,
yeah.
and you're like, fucking come on! And that's about it.
Okay.
And because if you ever watched
Yeah.
Rocky movies,
I haven't, but I know what you're on
I
about.
haven't
boxing.
Yeah, I know what you're on about. The isn't
yeah,
it
and
the
the music starts going. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
pretty cool, but admittedly, I think that scene, well, the beginning of that scene is very good. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. So the beginning of that scene where Falcon and Bucky were in the field and they're talking, I felt it was good dialogue, but executed poorly. I think the direction of that scene in particular was terrible. They seemed so robotic, and everything they said was definitely just trailer audio. Like whenever I just watched that scene, like, yeah, I've seen this whole scene already. It didn't really add anything to me. I feel like the direction that they took on it for that part of it was a little lazy. And then the montage I definitely enjoyed, but there's like a couple shots where Falcon is doing all these backflips or whatever, and he's running, but they do it in slow-mo, and they show the guy's face, and it's very clearly not Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there's like a slow-mo shot
realised
of him.
that.
I did.
There's a slow-mo shot of a guy doing a backflip, and they like focus on his face, and it's not Anthony Mackie.
Why would they focus
I
on his
realised that.
face?
I don't know. Like they panned, like he's doing a flip, and they panned, like the camera panned slightly up, but it made it noticeable because of the position of the flip and then the slow mo.
Okay.
It wasn't Anthony Mackie, so that bit I didn't enjoy either.
It's very
But
sad.
I
news.
agree that scene was pretty decent.
All right, I've got
But-
another question. Who is your favorite character of the series?
I mean, Falcon. Sam by far.
Yeah.
Actually, not by far, 'cause I like Zemo in this one too.
I mean, it's got to be Sam, Bucky, or Zemo, right?
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
no other contest
They're-
really.
I-
Well,
I,
guess
I,
no,
qui- I quite
Walker.
like how Zemo played out. I really enjoyed it.
I think the main 3 picks would be Walker, Zemo, and Sam.
Really? You prefer Walker
Yeah.
over Bucky?
I don't prefer him, but I think it's very interesting what they did with him.
I think
I don't
think
like him, but I think
um,
it was awesome.
I think Bucky's morality plotline was really good. I like how it
I think
ended.
it was good.
And there was emotion in that.
Well, I agree, but the way they did it, like they had Bucky, like they built up that scene where he's gonna tell the old man he killed his son, and then they just pan away from it as quickly as possible. We don't even get to see his reaction.
Yeah.
So
But
I was a
then
little
it would
sad about that.
it would have been quite a difficult, like how I don't think it would have mattered how he reacted. There would have been a lot of people who disagreed with how he reacted because everybody reacts to that kind of news differently. So there would have
Guess that's
been
fair.
mixed responses. I think they've done that pretty right by not
I
including.
guess that's fair. I would have lingered on it though. It feels like they were just rushing to get out of there. To be honest with you,
Maybe.
I don't know. I thought that overall that was great too, but I think Walker just stands out to me because we've never seen anything like that. Like we've seen good guys be bad, and we've had bad guys be good, but we've never had someone who's trying to be a good guy but is the bad guy.
Yeah,
in
I
a
guess
sense.
so.
Like
Yeah.
like he was very, very passionate about wanting to do a good job, and he very clearly had a moral code, and he's done a good job in his life. It's just taking the pressure of being Captain America and transitioning from being a soldier to
Yeah.
a symbol.
Yeah, that's
No.
fair.
And
So
then a
I
nod.
just thought it very interesting. Yeah, pretty much. But I just found it more interesting because Bucky, we know where it was going. Like you said, like it was kind of already explained in Infinity War what happened
Yeah.
with him. So
They just
I
added more to
found
it.
Walker. Yeah, I just found Walker more interesting in the show because he was new.
Yeah. fair
Yeah, I
enough.
guess so. No, he did a good part, to be fair.
Yeah,
I think it was a good part. As he starts going a bit insane
Yeah.
throughout the show. I liked that. So-
Also, I want to throw in. I really liked his buddy, Lamar. I thought it was really nice. I
His
liked
what?
him. But
Buddy.
his buddy.
I thought you said body.
Yeah, Lamar.
I thought you said buddy as well.
No,
I was like-
no,
I was like, eh?
no,
Yeah.
buddy.
All right, buddy.
Ah.
His
Alright,
buddy
fair enough.
Lamar. I thought he was pretty cool. But
Yeah,
oh
he
well.
was a nice guy.
Wh-
It's a shame
while
he's
he
dead, though.
lasted, yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. He was very clearly a plot device the whole time. though.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So moving on from Lamar, I want to talk about Val real quick. That lady, with the like the long French car name. That's what it sounded like. It was like a
Who?
French car.
I don't know who you're on about.
Valentino La Vente La.
What, that really sus person that goes to talk to John?
The one at the end who calls him the power broker.
No, the
US
U.S.
agent.
agent. That
Yeah.
lady.
Yeah, her.
Yeah.
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 So basically, this lady apparently is supposed to made her first appearance in Black Widow, but Black Widow was delayed so long that she wasn't. We haven't seen it yet.
Fair enough.
So she was supposed to be in Black Widow, and she's supposed to be Madam Hydra. If I'm
Madam
correct.
Hydra.
Oh!
That's her comic book name, meaning Hydra is still around.
Yeah, I'm
Which
not
is
surprised.
interesting.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I mean,
surprised.
I'd expect that, but I mean,
Hydra's gonna
it
be
depends on how they do it.
Hydra's gonna be here long after everybody else.
Yeah,
I think Marvel
I
will
think-
end and Hydra will still be a thing.
honestly, I can agree with that because that's just like such a popular comic ideal, and it's just been going for so long. I think
Yeah,
that
she's
to drop
she's
it would
also
be
known
dumb.
as Viper.
Viper. Interesting.
Viper.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Apex Predator.
Viper is a fictional supervillain appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. She is a foe of the Avengers and the X-Men. Viper was featured in the 2013 film The Wolverine as the
She was in
Russian
The Wolverine?
actress. Yeah, it's the Russian actress, blah, blah, blah. So,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Viper,
Okay.
also known as Madam Hydra, apparently.
Okay, well, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
And the leader of
See?
Hydra is Red Skull.
Oh my god. So
Wow.
she's in Wolverine. We're already starting the mutant crossover.
Yeah, but
But
in
obviously it'd be
this,
different, but
she looks like
yeah.
Poison Ivy. Yeah.
I can see it, but
Yeah,
at the same
yeah.
time, what? I don't know.
She no, like literally, she just looks like Poison Ivy without the leaves,
She has the same hair, but like,
and
Oh.
she's
She
wearing a
also
green suit.
appeared. She also appeared
she
in the
comes black-
MCU video game Captain America Super Soldier.
She's a lot younger.
What?
She's a lot younger in this Wolverine movie. It's not the same person. In this, Viper's called Dr. Green.
oh, okay. So yeah, they'll be different. Okay.
Yeah, it's not
Well-
the same character.
Where I was going with that, we kind of went off the rails, but where I was going with Val is that Hydra is still around, and the Flag Smashers are probably still around, right?
Mm.
Is there going to be some civil war between the bad guys? Because we've seen the good guys, but wouldn't that be so cool to have like the Flag Smashers and Hydra be like kind of like an opposing force, but also opposing the Avengers at the same time? Because
A big
Flag
old
Smashers,
scrap.
Flag Smashers and Hydra are very similar in the way that they conduct their I don't know, their business or whatever. They
Yeah.
talk one nation, one people, and Hail Hydra. It's very similar. You can very see that parallel throughout the show. Do you think that they're gonna have Hydra and the Flag Smashers have some sort of conflict, or do you think that one of those factions will be destroyed before they even have that opportunity?
Is
I
there
th-
only
I-
one Flag
I
Smasher
think-
left now?
Yeah,
There's
I think
one-
there'll be.
There's one
unannounced.
super soldier left, but there's hundreds of Flag
Oh,
Smashers.
well, I don't know, because I would like there to be, for the fact that I don't think they made the Flag Smashers very interesting or entertaining or as dangerous as they should have been portrayed as. At the same time, I feel like the Flag Smashers are good as they are in this series, and I don't think they should be in, like, I don't think they should continue. I feel like the death of their leader should be enough to kill it off.
Yeah, I
Mm.
guess that's right.
I don't
It makes
have
sense.
Wow.
something else I can help with.
Why is Alexa kicking off?
Siri, actually. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you just saw me piss my pants jumping at that. That really made me jump.
You're a silly man.
Anyways,
Anyways.
what was I going? Oh, I was going to say something. I forgot what I was going to say. Does anyone else have anything to add while I'm thinking of this?
No, I haven't got anything else to add to this, but I've got another point that I just want to quickly bring up, and that is Isaiah Bradley's plotline. I just want to quickly.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about that.
Yeah. So
what?
definitely Isaiah Bradley, the
okay,
old
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
wasn't expecting this going into it. I do really like how they brung in somebody with a connection to Steve, and then also tied that into how the world sees him as like the first ever black superhero or black Avenger or whatever, and that by the end of kind of him basically telling Sam like, this isn't gonna work, look how it ended up for me, for at the end to see Sam as Captain America, and then to go in at the very end and get his own statue and be appreciated for his work as a super soldier. I thought that was perfect. I thought that was a really
Yeah.
good.
I really
I
like
think
that.
that scene at the very end is my second favorite, only to Falcon, given the senators talking to. That whole end of the finale, I thought was perfect.
Yeah,
I
agree.
genuinely don't think, I think the best dialogue in the entire MCU is that scene of Falcon talking to the senators. I cannot think of a better
Yeah.
scene of just a monologue in the entire MCU.
Mm.
It's not monologue,
in
but
the
dialogue.
entire MCU.
Yes. I can't think of better executed dialogue to get to drive home a point.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I agree.
There's good writing, of course.
I mean,
but
I
I'm talking
am
about
Iron Man,
dialogue.
maybe.
But that no, yes,
I think,
but
I mean, it's
is
an
ver-
iconic speech, isn't it?
mean, it's
Tony
icon-
Stark's.
it's iconic, but is it like moving like it is? Well, it is. They're both moving, but in their different ways. I Am Iron Man is moving because the fans like Iron Man. We've been following this character for 10 years.
It's
Sam's
not
speech to the senators.
that's not just the reason why it's moving. It's also a case of it was a big change for superhero culture, where instead of being a hidden superhero like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, they went straight out with the beginning of the MCU as, look guys, you know, the superhero is famous and everybody knows who he is, yet he's still a superhero. But I do get your point. It still doesn't take away from the fact that it still was a really good speech from
Yeah.
Sam.
Before we wrap up this podcast, I want to ask you guys because I just answered. What do you think your favorite bit of like dialogue is from the MCU? Because I just gave it, and I think this would be very interesting to compare.
God.
Because this would be taking the comparison of this show and putting in context with the Infinity Saga. Where do you think
Okay.
the writing and dialogue would go?
Okay, I'll give you my thoughts. I watch a lot of I don't watch a lot of TV show movies, but let me just pull in Doctor Who real quick and say that Doctor Who has amazing speeches all of the time, although they don't anymore. And they're amazing, and I love Doctor Who for that aspect as well. But then you look at something like Marvel, and I don't see that as a series of movies where I can even really remember, or there should be any need for speeches like the one that Falcon gave, and that's why it was good because, or Captain America now, because they don't do speeches all the time, and that was like, it was a great speech. In terms of dialogue, I'm more. I would just say stuff like jokes and stuff because that's how I see it. The dialogue to me isn't usually speeches like the one that Sam gave. It's usually just jokes because that's what the MCU is. A joke.
I guess that's fair enough. Well, I don't. I wouldn't say the MCU is a joke.
Yeah,
but I see where you're coming
it's
from.
not.
I get
Yeah.
I get your point. It's hard to sitting here now. It's hard to just pick out a piece of dialogue that, like you say, drove a point. I can't really think of any that drove a very serious point.
I let me just bring back
the
one
only
up.
other
I would
major
say
ones that I can think of. Off the
actually
top
my
of my head was
favorite
also
my
Falcon
favorite
Winter
piece
Soldier
of
at the
dialogue
beginning.
would be Iron Man's goodbye speech.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. That's what I was gonna say.
To who? Which movie? I'm trying to think here.
Endgame.
Yeah, Endgame.
Where
When
he's
did he
saying
give it-
where he's saying
Where he says
like
goodbye to
sat
Pepper?
down. Yeah.
Where he's the hologram, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. That. You know what? Fair. That's fair. I mean, I feel like Iron Man, Chris Evans, Captain America, and Sam are by far like miles ahead of the other dialogue. Like in terms of driving home a point. Like okay, the thing I was gonna say is the only other thing besides, this talk to the senators that I can think of that's like on par with that is Isaiah Bradley's introduction. And it's not nearly as
Yeah.
long or as good. It's still good,
Yeah.
but I mean, yeah, the Iron Man speech at the end of Endgame.
I see.
yeah.
Going back to my point about the fact that the MCU doesn't really have speeches like this, I feel like that is because the format of the series. We don't really have time for speeches like that. But in this series we did because it was quite a lot of character development. The speech with Isaiah and Falcon, or Sam again, are very character driven, and we had time for those moments because it was in a series. I don't think we would have got the Isaiah speech at the beginning or nearly as much. I think they would have been a lot more cut down if it was in one movie. So it did work better because it was in a series like this.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have anything else to add?
No.
All right,
I
well,
think
I'm going to
all
wrap it up
sorted.
then. Thank you guys so
All
much
right.
for watching this episode of the podcast. If you are interested, you can support us on Patreon. The link will be in the description. Thank you to our current patron, Sultan, Al-Sad. Sorry if I
Yeah.
mispronounced that.
Got there in the
Sultan
end.
Al-Sad.
There you go.
You can watch this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Patreon, and potentially more platforms in the future. So if you did enjoy, make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.
See you soon.